After 10 long years apart, she discovered amazing hidden treasures at her late husband's ranch. Rebecca clutched the letter tightly, its yellowed edges crinkling under her fingers. 1,000 memories flooded back, each one more vibrant than the last. 10 years had slipped through her fingers since Tom's accident, but now an invitation to return to their ranch beckoned her. For a moment hope flickered in her chest, mingling with the familiar ache of loss. Could it be true? Could the land that once held their dreams still hold treasures untold? As she drove down the dusty road winding toward the ranch, the Texas sun painted the world in shades of gold and orange. Each curve in the road whispered of laughter shared and plans forged late into the night. The oak trees lining the path swayed gently, as if reaching out to comfort her. Memories of Tom laughing, of Lily darting through the tall grass, caressed her heart. But with every mile, a knot twisted in her stomach. What would she find? Pulling into the ranch yard, Rebecca's breath caught in her throat. Everything looked as it once had. The rusty old barn, the fields that had bloomed dreams and then grief. Yet, as she stepped out of her truck, she felt an undeniable weight of melancholy. The land still felt like home, but it was now a ghost, a lingering echo of the love that once thrived here. In the midst of her swirling emotions, she stumbled upon a weathered box hidden beneath floorboards in the barn. Kneeling down, Rebecca pried it open, her heart racing. Inside were blueprints, sketches of renewable energy projects Tom had envisioned for their community. Her eyes glistened with tears as she traced his handwriting, a fervent dream that had flickered in their conversations long ago. But emotions soon twisted when she heard a voice behind her. It was Molly, Tom's sister, her eyes cold and guarded. "You think this place can bring him back?" Molly sneered. "We should sell it before someone else does." Rebecca's heart sank. The thought of losing the ranch to business-minded ambitions felt like betrayal. "It's not just land, Molly. It's our family's legacy." She felt the anger bubbling inside her. Molly crossed her arms, her chin tilting stubbornly. "A legacy that's just hurt us both." The tension escalated, simmering under the surface, and before long, Rebecca was grappling with emotions she had buried for so long. As she uncovered the last item, an old baseball signed by local legends, it ignited unresolved wounds for both women. The tension was palpable, and Rebecca felt suffocated by words left unsaid. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Determined not to yield, Rebecca eventually found Tom's journal, his heart laid bare in ink. As she read excerpts of his internal struggles, she felt the warmth of his love enveloping her once again. His plea for community progress ignited a flicker of determination. She envisioned a community event, an opportunity to bring everyone together to honor Tom's spirit. But as she stood before the crowd, her voice faltering amid whispers of doubt, she wondered if anyone would rally for a man long gone. Would the love woven into their lives endure? As Molly's hostile gaze pierced through her resolve, the possibility of reconciliation flickered like a flame in the darkness of despair. Would they mend the fractured ties birthed from grief and loss? Or would the weight of resentment keep Tom's dreams from ever taking flight? With the fragile air thick with unspoken truths, the ranch felt like a battleground for their hearts. And as the dust settled, Rebecca's journey toward understanding was only just beginning. Trembling on the brink of what could be, Rebecca stood there, gripped by uncertainty, her mind replaying every moment with Tom like a cherished favorite movie. The journal lay open in her lap, pages fluttering gently in the breeze, each one a testament to his dreams and hopes. She needed to grasp something tangible, something that wouldn't slip away like the rest of her memories. But would anyone else care? Would they share in her conviction? Molly crossed her arms tighter, suspicion laced across her features. "You think planning a bake sale will work? That's not gonna fix anything, Rebecca." Her heart raced. No, this wasn't just another community event. It was Tom's legacy. "It's more than that, Molly." Rebecca's voice rang with an urgency she hadn't known she possessed. "We can bring people together to celebrate his vision. His dreams were bigger than just us." The way Molly's face softened momentarily reassured Rebecca. Perhaps in that fragile understanding, there lay a chance for healing. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of preparations. Rebecca found herself at the forefront, rallying the townspeople. As she knocked on doors, she got varying reactions. Some smiled nostalgically, recalling Tom's infectious laughter, while others turned away, still wrapped in their own grief. One thing was clear. Love for Tom was buried beneath layers of hurt, and it wouldn't be easy to break through. One afternoon, as she lingered over an old picnic table outside the barn, she caught a glimpse of Molly watching from a distance, her expression unreadable. Digging deep into her courage, Rebecca approached her. "Molly, I know you're upset about all of this. But we can't ignore what he wanted. Don't you want to honor him?" Molly sighed, much of the fight leaving her body. "I do, but I don't know how to. This place. It hurts too much. I get that. But it can also heal. Tom wanted something better for our community. We owe it to him to try." Rebecca felt the tremors of hope swirling in her chest, praying for a bridge between them. Molly's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. "I'm just so tired of pretending everything is fine. We lost him, Rebecca. It's easier to walk away. No one's asking you to pretend. I'm just asking you to remember." Taking a step closer, Rebecca's heart pounded. To make this a place that honors him, a place that brings life back. Together. For a moment silence hovered between them, heavy as the air before a storm. Then Molly, with an uncertain nod, replied, "Fine. Let us do this. But I can't promise I won't be difficult." A smile broke through Rebecca's facade. Maybe that was a start. A slow, timid start, but a start nonetheless. The community event approached quickly. As the sun dipped down, it cast a warm glow on the gathering of friends and family old and new. Rebecca stood at the mic, gazing over the crowd. Excitement mixed with nerves swirled in her stomach. What would she say? Would they embrace Tom's vision? "Molly has agreed to help me, and together we want to remind everyone of what Tom meant to us," she began, her voice shaky yet resolute. "He believed in the power of this community, and the dreams we can achieve alongside one another. We can make this ranch thrive again." Cheers erupted, encouragement pouring in, and with that sound her confidence ballooned. Maybe they could turn the tides of their grief. Perhaps Tom's spirit could thrive again through the lives they touched. But just when it seemed like hope was taking root, Rebecca noticed a figure lurking at the edge of the field. She squinted through the fading light, heart racing as she recognized him. It was Matt, the one person she hadn't expected to see. A ghost from the past. Why was he here? Was this a chance for deeper healing or another wound reopening? The festival felt suspended, as if even the stars were holding their breath, waiting for the next chapter to unfold. The whispers among the crowd faded, replaced by the thumping of Rebecca's heart. Matt's presence had a way of stirring up a mixture of nostalgia and pain she had tried so hard to bury. With each step he took closer, memories flooded back, soft smiles and shared secrets, dreams of a life that felt like a different world altogether. "Rebecca," he called, his voice barely cutting through the buzz of the festival. It was the way he said her name, weighted with emotions that only they shared, yet now felt distant. She took a cautious step forward, willing herself to breathe. "Matt, what are you doing here?" "Just wanted to see." He glanced around, eyes scanning the people, before settling back on her. "To see how everyone was holding up. I heard about the event. I hope it's not just to gawk at the wreckage," she shot back, surprising both of them with her sharpness. The air grew thick around them, the festive energy continuing behind her but muffled, as if they were in a bubble apart from the world. Matt's brow furrowed. "You know that's not why I came. I wanted to support you, if that's okay." Rebecca's instincts screamed to put up walls, to protect herself from yet another disappointment. But she also caught a flicker of something in his eyes, genuine intent, perhaps even remorse. Could she trust him after all this time? "You have a funny way of showing support," she replied, but a softness had entered her tone, her heart aching for the connection they once had. "I know I screwed up leaving and all," he said, regret lacing his words. "But I hope we can find some common ground again." Tom would have wanted that too. Tom is not a reason for you to come and stir things back up," she interrupted, her voice rising. "He's not a pawn in some game." "Rebecca, stop." Molly stepped in, her presence like a shield beside her. This isn't the time for those feelings. We're all here to honor Tom, not to fight. For a moment tension crackled between them, the air thick with unsaid emotions. The buzz of the festival felt like a distant hum, devoid of warmth against the coldness that their shared past had cast over this moment. Rebecca took a deep breath, feeling Molly's encouraging stance beside her. "You're right. We're here for Tom. So let us just keep it about him," she said, grounding herself in a resolve she hadn't known she possessed. "We should focus on the bake sale and the community. That's what matters today." Matt nodded, the hurt in his eyes replaced by a glimmer of something hopeful. I've still got some of his old tools. I could bring a few over, share stories, maybe even help out." "There's no need for that," she replied, trying to maintain her resolve, even as doubt crept in. Deep down, a tiny flicker of hope burned. Maybe they could reconnect, even if only in small ways. But before she could decide how she truly felt, a commotion broke out nearby. The laughter and cheers transformed into gasps, drawing every eye toward a shadowy figure on a horse, galloping toward the gathering. Rebecca's heart sank. Could this day get any more complicated? The joy of what they were trying to build threatened to shatter as the rider drew closer, bringing with him an aura of uncertainty. What did this stranger want? Would he help or hurt the fragile peace they were trying to build? As the crowd began to murmur, Rebecca felt the weight of the moment pushing down on her. The day had taken a turn she couldn't predict, and this new arrival could change everything. Why did she feel as if the past was rushing back into her life, determined to make its mark yet again? The rider pulled to a stop, dust swirling around the horse's hooves, and suddenly all eyes were glued on him. Rebecca's heart raced as she took in the scene. He wore a long coat that fluttered in the breeze, his hat veiling most of his features. But there was something familiar, something hauntingly reminiscent of the men who had once roamed Tom's ranch. "Who is that?" Molly whispered, her voice tight at Rebecca's side. "I don't know," Rebecca replied, her mind racing with questions. She felt an inexplicable pull toward the stranger, as if he carried a piece of the past she had long tried to forget. The crowd parted hesitantly, expressions oscillating between confusion and curiosity. Whispers danced through the air like leaves caught in a gust. Some recognized him. Others were wary. A small child tugged at his mother's dress, pointing with wide eyes. The rider dismounted gracefully, his boots sinking into the ground. He glanced across the sea of faces, pausing at Rebecca's. It felt like an unspoken acknowledgement. "I'm looking for Rebecca Gray," he called out, his voice strong yet edged with an unexpected gentleness. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears. "That's me," she said, stepping away from the bubble she shared with Matt and Molly. What could he possibly want? He took a step toward her, removing his hat, and finally she saw his face, one that, while weathered, bore shadows of recognition. "I'm Luke," he said, voice steady. "Tom's brother." Silence engulfed the area, a stunned hush replacing the earlier murmurs. The name hung in the air like a thick fog, bringing with it all the memories Rebecca had shoved away. "Tom's brother?" she echoed, confusion clouding her thoughts. She had known about Tom's family in theory. After all, they were never really part of her life. "I didn't know you existed." Luke shrugged, a ghost of a smile flickering on his lips. "Yeah, that is pretty much how it went, I guess." His eyes darkened. "I never reconciled with Tom before he passed. I wanted to come today to honor him, to truly say goodbye." Rebecca's heart softened as she processed his words. It was a vulnerable admission, one she could relate to. "I understand," she replied quietly. "I'm still trying to do the same." The gap between them began to close, but she felt Matt's presence behind her, a reminder of her complicated emotions. Could this family, this connection in front of her, bring her peace? "I found some things at the ranch," Luke continued, his voice cracking slightly. "Things that belong to Tom. I think you should have them." The mention of Tom's belongings sent a familiar ache through her chest. Part of her wanted to cling to those memories, while another part feared what they might unearth. "What kind of things?" she asked carefully, cautious of where this path might lead. Luke's gaze hardened with purpose. "Tools, letters, photographs, there's so much history in that place. I think it might help you." Her breath caught. "Help me how?" "Understand him better," he replied. "Find closure." Rebecca glanced back at Matt, who stood in muted silence, the earlier tension replaced by a growing unease. Was this new connection a distraction from Matt's offer to help, or could they all truly find healing together? As Rebecca met Luke's steady gaze, a spark of hope flickered inside her, a possibility of rediscovery amid the wreckage of grief. Yet the weight of uncertainty hung heavily in the air. Would facing the past bring her the solace she sought, or open up wounds too deep to heal? The festival faded into the background as she stood there, trapped between the past and the uncertain future that lay ahead. With the decision looming, Rebecca realized she couldn't run from it any longer. Could she truly face what was buried at Tom's ranch? The next chapter of her journey was about to unfold, but what awaited her among the hidden treasures? The moment hung between them, charged with unspoken understanding. Luke's presence felt like a tether to a part of her life that had slipped through her fingers. "You said some things belonged to Tom," she said, forcing steady words past the knot in her throat. What if I'm not ready to confront them?" "I get it, Rebecca. Trust me, I do," Luke replied, his voice a soothing balm against her fear. "But sometimes it takes facing those shadows to find the light. I can't promise it'll be easy. I'm still learning that myself." Across the crowd, Molly's expression mirrored the apprehension simmering inside Rebecca. Yet as she looked back at Luke, a quiet determination settled in. Could this really be the step she needed? "Yeah, I could use a little guidance," she finally admitted, feeling a warmth spread in her chest. "I want to know more about him, to understand who he was to you." Luke nodded, relief washing over his features. "Then we should get to the ranch tomorrow. I can show you what I found. You can take your time with everything." "Tomorrow, huh?" she said, glancing at the festival still buzzing in the backdrop. The laughter, the music, it all felt worlds away from this raw, emotional exchange. Matt, who had stayed quiet up until now, took a step forward. "Do you think it's wise, Rebecca?" he asked, concern etched on his face. "This is all happening so fast. What if it opens old wounds instead of healing them?" "Maybe it's worth the risk," she replied, surprising even herself with the conviction in her voice. The thought of uncovering pieces of her husband's life weighed heavily, but the idea of learning, of moving forward, pulled her just as fiercely. "I'm here for you," Matt said softly, reaching out to squeeze her hand. "You don't have to do it alone." But before she could respond, Luke spoke again, his voice low but firm. "You won't be alone. I'll be there every step of the way. It's time for both of us to reclaim what we lost." As they stood together, wrestling with their emotions, Rebecca felt the weight of the world slide slightly off her shoulders. Perhaps this was a beginning, a bridge to understanding her own grief while connecting with another layer of Tom she never truly knew. Faint murmurs of the festival began to filter back into her consciousness, laughter mixed with the remnants of melancholy clinging to her heart. "Will you join me tomorrow, then?" Luke asked, his eyes intense but inviting. "We can head out early. It'll be just us, no distractions." Rebecca glanced at Matt, who gave her an encouraging nod. "All right," she said, finally allowing a flicker of hope to blossom within her chest. "Tomorrow it is." "Great," Luke said, a soft smile breaking through his earlier somberness. "It'll be a day for memories, not just for loss." As the sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm glow over the festival, Rebecca felt like she had stepped onto a new path, one that could lead to healing but also to uncertainty. Was she ready to face the echoes of the past? With every heartbeat, she felt the mingling rush of excitement and fear. Tomorrow would tell her more than she could know today. And as the day faded into night, the thoughts of what lay ahead filled her mind. What secrets would the ranch reveal? And would unlocking them mend the fractures within her heart? Or would they deepen her wounds? She took a deep breath, ready for whatever the dawn would bring. Morning light filtered through the curtains, painting Rebecca's room in soft hues. With sleep still heavy in her eyes, she felt the weight of anticipation. Today was the day she'd step into the memories of Tom's life, the man she loved, and learn more than just what he left behind. She hoped to understand him better. She dressed slowly, each piece of clothing a layer of determination wrapped around her. A light sweater for the chill, jeans that hugged her just right, and her favorite boots, nothing extravagant, but familiar. Reaching for her phone, she paused, looking at the empty messages from Tom. It had always felt surreal seeing the absence of his texts. No emojis, no good mornings, just silence. She tucked the phone away, unwilling to dwell on the past as she turned her focus ahead. Matt was already waiting for her in the kitchen, coffee brewed and the aroma filling the air. He looked at her with that concerned gaze she had grown used to, a soft reminder of his unwavering support. "You ready?" he asked, lifting his cup. "Yeah, I think so," she replied with a shaky breath, wrapping her hands around her own steaming mug. The warmth seeped into her skin, a small comfort amidst the storm. "Just take it one step at a time, okay?" She nodded, knowing he was trying to help. But so many steps loomed ahead of her. "I'm anxious, Matt. What if I don't like what I find? What if it just hurts more?" "You will find a way to navigate through it just like you always do." His voice was steady, and she appreciated that steadiness, his commitment to be there when the shadow of her grief loomed large. It was a reminder that she wouldn't be alone. By the time they met Luke at the edge of the festival grounds, a thin veil of mist still hung over the horizon. The ranch wasn't far from here, but the ride felt significant, a transition from yesterday's noise to today's revelations. Luke stood lean against his truck, a comforting presence against the backdrop of untamed beauty that was the sprawling land. "Ready?" he asked, warmth shining through his smile. "As ready as I'll ever be," Rebecca replied, her voice barely above a whisper as they climbed into the truck. The engine roared to life, and she felt the vibration thrumming through her. The drive was filled with conflicted emotions. Soft music mingled with Rebecca's thoughts. She found herself stealing glances at Luke. His focus on the road showed that this mattered to him too. The ranch was a sanctuary and a graveyard of memories. As they approached the property, the sun broke through the clouds, illuminating the weathered barn and rolling fields. The sight struck a chord deep within her. "This was his dream," she murmured, her heart heavy with the weight of unfulfilled potential. "Every corner has a story," Luke said, eyes glinting with nostalgia. "Let us uncover them." Walking through the familiar gate, Rebecca felt her pulse quicken. This was it. The place where Tom had poured himself into every detail. Every blade of grass somehow tied to his spirit. Eventually they reached the barn. The doors creaked as they pushed them open, revealing a collection of old tools, the scent of hay mixing with dusty air. This was a place of labor but also of love. "Let us see what treasures he left behind," Luke encouraged, stepping inside. Rebecca scanned the space. Her eyes landed on an old trunk tucked in a corner, half hidden by shadows. It felt like it was waiting just for her. "What's in there?" she wondered aloud, her pulse racing. "I guess we'll find out," Luke said, his face a mix of caution and encouragement. As Rebecca bent down to lift the lid, memories of Tom flooded her mind. She hesitated, heart pounding. What if this trunk held answers, or worse, questions she wasn't ready to face? With a deep breath she opened it. Dust swirled in the light, and what she saw inside left her breathless. "Rebecca," Luke said softly, his voice trailing off as they both leaned in closer. What had she just uncovered? And what surprises awaited her beyond this first glimpse? The lid creaked as Rebecca opened the trunk wider, sunlight spilling into the darkness and illuminating a mosaic of memories. Inside were stacks of yellowed papers, old photographs, and various knickknacks that felt like portals to another time. Her heart raced as she reached in, fingers trembling. "Is that?" Luke pointed to a faded photo on top. She picked it up, holding it close. There was Tom, younger, standing beside an older man who could only be his father. Their smiles were wide, dimples deep, and the backdrop was the very barn they stood in now. "Yeah, that's Dad," Luke said, his voice softening. He was always the one pushing Tom to follow his dreams. Rebecca held the photo tighter, a bittersweet knot forming in her throat. She wished she could ask Tom about that moment, to hear the laughter, the teasing, the love shared between them. Instead she was left with echoes. "Look at that," Luke said, pulling out another bundle buried beneath the photos. It was a stack of letters tied together with frayed twine. The edges were rough, the ink faded but still legible. "These are from Tom to his dad. Might shed some light on his dreams or his struggles," Rebecca interrupted, suddenly feeling vulnerable. Do you think I'm ready for this?" His gaze was steady, reassuring. "You won't know until you try. Just remember, it's okay to feel whatever you feel." Taking a deep breath, Rebecca untied the letters, revealing a glimpse into Tom's heart from years before. She scanned the first few lines, her breath hitching as his handwriting brought him vividly back to life. "Dear Dad, I feel stuck, like I'm standing still while the world moves around me." She paused, the words a window into Tom's inner world. He defaced fear. He struggled with doubt. Clutching the letter, she could almost hear his voice speaking these words aloud, filled with emotion. Just read it, Luke encouraged gently. Together. With each word they shared, Rebecca felt a mix of hope and dread. Tom had poured his aspirations onto the page, his wishes for his ranch, dreams of a family, and ways he felt he fell short. It struck her how much he had longed for understanding, for connection even back then. What if I'm not who he wanted me to be? She blurted out, her heart racing with panic. What if I don't know? What if I disappoint him? Luke glanced at her, eyes soft with empathy. Rebecca, he loved you. No matter what struggles he had, you were part of his dream. He waved his hand over the letters. This is a conversation. A way for you to see him fully, not just the memories you've clung to. Taking a moment, Rebecca let his words sink in. The letters were gifts, notes of vulnerability she had longed to unravel, and yet they filled her with uncertainty. What else was hidden beneath the surface? What more could she discover about the man she loved? She picked up another letter, a heavier one, and began to read aloud. As she did, tears sprang to her eyes. The raw emotion in Tom's words felt alive, resonating deeply within her. I wish I could tell you how scared I am to step into my future. A silence enveloped the barn as they absorbed the weight of his sentiments. Each letter was a testament to his inner journey, a path she was now invited to walk if she dared. Rebecca, Luke said softly, want to take a step further? There may be more treasures in this trunk. Rebecca nodded, determination replacing her hesitation. The past felt daunting, yet it also shimmered with possibility. With each new piece of Tom's life she uncovered, she could find not just who he was, but who she might still become as they continued to explore. A small leather-bound book caught her eye, tucked away beneath the letters. It seemed older than everything else, a journal perhaps. Her heart raced again. What secrets would this one hold? She reached for it, barely breathing as Luke watched with quiet anticipation. The journey to understanding was just beginning, and Rebecca was ready to dive deeper. What if it reveals something I can't bear? She whispered, apprehensive. Then we face it together. Luke assured her, the strength of his presence unwavering. With steady hands, Rebecca opened the journal, her heart racing. What would she find hidden within those pages? Would it shatter her memories or help her heal? The pages of the journal were thick and slightly crinkled, as if they were holding on to something precious. Rebecca took a moment to steady herself, eyeing the delicate edges as if they might crumble under the weight of her emotions. With a deep breath, she turned the first page, and the familiar swirl of Tom's handwriting greeted her like an old friend. October 15th, she read out loud. Today I completely lost track of time. I was fixing the fence and suddenly the sun was setting. It felt like the whole world paused just for a moment. There was a soft smile on her face as she absorbed the image of Tom, out in the open air, utterly immersed in his work. She could almost picture him, dirt on his hands, his forehead glistening with sweat, completely at home in his element. Reading this makes me feel closer to him, Rebecca admitted quietly, glancing up at Luke. His expression was one of deep understanding, nodding gently as if to encourage her to continue. With each entry, she discovered pieces of Tom's daily life, the dreams he had for the ranch, the way he poured his heart into every task. Words flowed about the changing seasons, the animals he cared for, and aspirations that stretched far beyond the horizon. It was as if she were stepping into his shoes, seeing the world through his eyes. Here. She turned another page, emotion tightening her throat again. He.S. writing about how he wants to start a family. It's like he already envisioned a life with me. Look. She held up the journal, pointing to a passage where Tom described a small home with laughter echoing off the walls, a house filled with kids running, climbing, and exploring. Did he ever mention wanting kids? Luke asked softly, his tone delicate, as if afraid to disrupt this moment. Rebecca shook her head, trying to wipe away tears that blurred her vision. No, not directly. I mean, we talked about it sometimes, but never like this, like he really believed it could happen. Luke leaned a little closer, his eyes searching hers in solidarity. He did dream of it, Rebecca. You were that dream. You always have been. The weight of his words hovered in the air. It was a reminder that she had been woven into his hopes, tangible and real. As she continued reading, the tone shifted slightly. Tom opened up about his fears, detailing nights spent wrestling with doubt. I'm scared, one entry read. What if I'm not strong enough to be the man they need? What if I fail them? Rebecca felt her heart ache for him. It was one thing to read the letters where he expressed doubt. The journal laid bare his soul. He was just a man, vulnerable and searching for answers. Not the perfect figure she placed him on. She looked to Luke again, her heart swelling with empathy. He faced so many of the same struggles I do and I never even realized it. It makes me feel less alone. Exactly, Luke said, his voice steady. Everyone has their battles. Even heroes have to figure things out. Marking the page, Rebecca turned further, hoping for more insights into Tom's inner world. As she flipped through the pages, one entry caught her eye, titled A Path Forward. Her voice quivered as she read, I've realized my happiness is tied to following my heart, not just the expectations of others. A sudden gust of wind swept through the barn, fluttering the pages, and Rebecca caught herself holding her breath. The rest of the words felt like a secret map leading to something greater. Keep going, Luke encouraged. Rebecca's fingers fluttered over the pages until she reached the end of the journal. There, one last entry awaited. It was dated only months before his passing. The ink was slightly smudged as Tom wrote about a revelation he had during one of his long nights working under the stars. I've learned to embrace uncertainty, she read aloud, the words hanging in the air. It's okay to be afraid, but I can't let that fear define me. For Rebecca, for our future. Tears spilled down her cheeks as the magnitude of it all washed over her. He had hope for us even then, she whispered, trying to catch her breath. Always, Luke said, rubbing her back gently. He believed in you too. Rebecca closed the journal slowly, her heart racing with the weight of Tom's words. They were more than memories. They were a call to courage. All the doubts she had masked were echoed within those pages, but now she felt a thread of resolve weaving through her heart. Luke, she said, her voice trembling with newfound strength. I can't ignore this. I want to find a way to honor his dreams, to build what he envisioned for us. Luke smiled, pride lighting up his features. Then let us do it together. As Rebecca stood there, her heart thudding with purpose, she felt the winds of change swirling around her. There was so much left to uncover, not just about Tom but about herself and what lay ahead. But as she glanced back at the trunk, the thought loomed large, echoing in her mind. What other buried treasures might still be hidden? What more could Tom's life offer her in this wild pursuit of connection and dreams? The silence in the barn felt charged with potential. As Rebecca held the journal to her chest, she could almost hear Tom's voice mingling with the rustle of hay and the creaking of the wooden beams. It was a gentle reminder that he was here in spirit, urging her forward. Determination settled in her bones, igniting a fire she thought had long since dimmed. Where should we start? Luke asked, leaning forward, energized by her resolve. Rebecca's gaze flicked to the trunk, its worn wood revealing just enough to suggest stories waiting to be told. I think we should look again. That trunk might hold more than just memories. Luke nodded, stepping beside her. Together they approached it, the sunlight streaming through the barn's open door illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. Rebecca knelt down, her heart pounding in her chest, and lifted the heavy lid. Dust billowed up as it creaked open, bringing with it the scent of aged leather and old wood. Inside were mementos, forgotten keepsakes of a life once lived. There were tools, a few framed photos of her and Tom from bright sunny days, and an old guitar with strings that looked like they hadn't been plucked in years. She brushed her fingers against the rough edges of a well-loved baseball glove, and smiled at the happy faces captured in the photographs, memories of his infectious laughter. Look here, she said, her voice a mere whisper, pulling out a leather-bound sketchbook. It fell open easily in her hands. Pages filled with beautiful drawings sprang to life. The ranch at sunset, wildflowers blooming in the fields, and joyous moments captured between friends. Wow. He was quite the artist, Luke remarked, glancing over her shoulder. Rebecca smiled, refreshing warmth flooding through her. He always found peace in creating. These must have given him solace in tough times. She flipped through more pages, a mix of sketches and notes sprawled across the yellowed paper. One entry, however, made her stop cold. The words leaped off the page. In the heart of these hills lies not only the soul of the land, but the seed of opportunity. What's it say? Luke leaned in closer, intrigued. Her heart raced as she read on. I want to turn this place into something meaningful. A space where dreams take root and flourish. Tears threatened to spill again, but she held them back. He wanted to create a community, a hub for others to find their place. It's like he knew he wouldn't be here forever. A sense of purpose washed over Rebecca like a warm wave. Suddenly, she knew what she had to do. I can't just sit here and let his dreams fade. I need to make this happen. Luke stood tall beside her, an unwavering ally in a quest that was crystallizing in Rebecca's mind. What are you thinking? She closed the sketchbook gently, determination flickering like a campfire come to life. We could turn this ranch into a retreat, a place for people to connect, to heal and to find hope, just how Tom envisioned. Absolutely, Luke's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. We'll honor his memory, and you'll bring his dreams to life. I'm in. Rebecca met his gaze, a wave of relief flooding her. With each passing second, her fear of the unknown receded, replaced by the thrill of possibility. They both understood how much this meant not just for Tom but also for herself. Suddenly, a loud thud echoed from the back of the barn. They froze, exchanging glances laced with curiosity. What was that? Luke asked. I have no idea, she replied, her heart racing. But it sounds like there's something else back there. Rebecca's heart thumped a little faster as she rose to her feet. She took a step towards the shadowy corner of the barn, her curiosity teetering on the edge of excitement and slight trepidation. What other secrets lay waiting to be uncovered? What other treasures might be hidden in this space that held so much of Tom's past? Taking a deep breath, she motioned for Luke to follow. Together they walked toward the unknown, both aware that they were about to embark on another journey, one that promised to reveal even more than they had anticipated. As Rebecca and Luke cautiously approached the shadowy corner of the barn, the air thickened with anticipation. The sound echoed again, a hollow thud that beckoned them deeper into the shadows. Rebecca's heart raced. What if they uncovered something truly life-altering? Without a word, she reached for the rope that hung beside the barn door, pulling it to illuminate the darkened space. The sharp glow revealed towering stacks of old crates, covered in dust and cobwebs. Luke stepped in beside her, eyes scanning the dim corners. What do you think is back there? He whispered. I have no idea, Rebecca replied, breathless with excitement. The possibilities felt endless. Could it be remnants of Tom's past? Artifacts waiting for a new purpose? As they pushed aside the crates, something glinted under the dim light, a metallic surface, half buried beneath a heap of forgotten memories. Rebecca knelt down, heart pounding, and brushed away the debris. Her breath caught when she uncovered a large, rusted sign that read, Tom's Community Orchard, established 2015. An orchard? Luke marveled, kneeling beside her. He wanted to create something more, something that could nourish both the land and the community. Overwhelming emotion washed over her. This was the heart of Tom's vision. She could see it now, the trees bearing fruit, families laughing, children playing among the blooms. This was life, a legacy that needed to be revived. He envisioned this all along, she murmured, tears threatening to spill. A second thud brought their attention back to the crates, pushing them aside further. An old garden cart, slightly bent but still sturdy, emerged, the perfect vessel for dreams. Each creak of the wood echoed a lifetime of untold stories. Rebecca, we should keep digging, Luke encouraged, excitement bubbling in his voice. She nodded, adrenaline surging through her veins as they continued their excavation. They unearthed more treasures, a stack of aged paper sealed with twine, yellowed with time, design sketches for an ecology center on the ranch, and a fundraising idea for a community event. It was everything Tom had envisioned, a sanctuary for healing and growth. Look at this, Luke exclaimed, holding up a blueprint. He mapped it all out. Every detail, she marveled, hope bubbling. He truly believed in this place. The way he had woven his dreams, all while facing struggles, was now visible before her. An enveloping warmth filled the barn, a sense of purpose rushing back, mingling with the stories of love and loss. This is more than just a dream, she whispered, glancing up at Luke. It's our chance to honor him and bring this orchard back to life. Let us do it, Luke replied, determination shining in his eyes. We can turn the ranch into a community hub, a place to grow, connect, and heal. I want to share it with everyone, Rebecca said passionately. Tom wanted this people coming together to cultivate not just crops but relationships. The enormity of her vision filled her chest. She felt energized, ignited by the idea of creating something lasting. We need to involve the community, get them excited about the orchard and these plans, she declared, dreaming of ways to engage everyone. Our first step? He asked, his voice calm and grounded amidst their whirlwind of excitement. Let us throw a community gathering, an orchard revival celebration. A day to honor Tom's vision, to introduce them to what we found, Rebecca said, her heart soaring with newfound determination. Luke grinned. We'll turn it into a festival. Promote the land, the orchard, and even highlight ways to get involved. Tears of joy brimmed in Rebecca's eyes, cascading down her cheeks. This moment felt sweet, like spring's first breath, awakening dormant dreams. The fear and uncertainty from before had been replaced by hope as they sifted through the remnants of the ranch, uncovering not just Tom's dreams, but her own. Together, she whispered, another wave of emotion crashing over her. We're doing this together. Together, they meticulously plotted the event's details, planning activities that would engage all ages, workshops on sustainable gardening, cooking demonstrations with fresh produce, and even storytelling sessions where community members could share their favorite memories of Tom. From dusk to dawn, Rebecca's heart brimmed with a joy she hadn't experienced in years, a purpose filled with love rejuvenating the ranch. As they walked slowly out of the barn, the sunlight kissed her skin, a reminder that every shadowed corner held a flicker of light. Returning home later that night, she felt lighter. The weight of loss hadn't disappeared, but it transformed. It woven into something vivid and beautiful. As she lay in bed, thoughts of the community event danced in her mind like fireflies on a warm summer evening. Tomorrow, she whispered to herself. Tomorrow there will be laughter, love, and connections, reconnecting what grief had nearly severed. As sleep washed over her, Rebecca's heart was filled with hope. She was finally honoring Tom's dreams and embracing her own. And she knew deep down that through this journey they were both living again. The following weeks flew by. Rebecca poured her heart into the preparations, rallying the townspeople, sharing the stories they had discovered at the ranch. Each connection, every smile was a step towards healing old wounds. The day of the orchard revival celebration arrived, a clear morning, sunshine bathing the ranch in a golden hue. Excitement buzzed in the air as families gathered. Laughter mingled with the fragrant scent of blooming flowers, and energy buzzed like electricity throughout the air. As she stood among friends and strangers, with Luke at her side, a knot of gratitude formed in her heart. Here she was amid kindred spirits coming together to honor Tom, to acknowledge their collective grief and dreams. As she took a moment to look around, she felt a bittersweet pang, remembering the emptiness that had once filled this place. But instead of darkness, hope flickered in every corner, every person present. And as she lifted the microphone to address the crowd, excitement tingled through her. This was her moment. Welcome, everyone, she began, heart soaring. Today we celebrate not just the memory of Tom, but the lives that flow through these lands. This ranch is filled with laughter, love, and dreams. Together, we are planting seeds of hope again. Cheering erupted from the crowd, voices blending in a beautiful symphony of connection. Hope soared as they shared stories, laughter, and triumphs. With every heartfelt moment, every soul embracing each other, Rebecca felt Tom's spirit alive within them, a radiant reminder of the love that bonds us all. As dusk settled over the ranch, she realized that through this journey, they had all found light in each other's hearts, weaving together threads of loss into a tapestry of belonging. And as she stood there, laughing with friends, gazing at the orchard she was helping to cultivate alongside every person gathered, she understood this was more than a celebration. It was a beginning. This was life happening, rekindling the dreams Tom had woven, and bringing her heart back to life. As a crisp breeze brushed against her cheek, she smiled, knowing they had all just taken the first steps into a brighter tomorrow. Now the land was more than buried regrets. It was a living testament to love, community, and the promise of new beginnings. So let us honor those dreams together. Together now, dear friends, I need you to step up and continue this journey with me. This is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel because you need to stay tuned for the next exclusive stories that will inspire your heart and soul. And don't forget to leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Every click counts, and truly makes a difference in helping us grow this community. I need to hear from you, so comment your thoughts and feelings about this ending. I want to know how this story touched you. And you must share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to Share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting this journey we're on together.